Hello there, everybody. SAMAEL 2 Nightmare, and welcome back to Rose Guns Day's last season. So, where do I even begin? Well, last episode we kind of got a grasp of just how terribly deep that Gabriel's influence runs throughout the entire, just everything. He's got everybody completely under his thumb. And threatening even the life of Butler's own sister, who they've been estranged, but it shows that Butler does care about his own sister to the point where even if they have been estranged, he doesn't want her to be involved. Like, dear God, man. It always seems to come down to the whole thing about sisters. That seems to be a recurring theme about this particular chapter. This particular arc with Gabriel in it. Good Lord. Let's just move forward because everything's probably going to be terrible. And Alan still hasn't woke up yet. As the rain poured down, several GDS men walked up the outdoor staircase of a beat-up Chinatown apartment building, hiding the sound of their footsteps. Communicating only with hand signals, they cautiously approached a certain room.
Well, it took you bastards long enough.
After watching this, unheeding of the rain, Shaolin scrambled up the outer wall. This was neither City 23 nor City 22. It was City 12, which lay at the opposite end of Tokyo. It was old Setagaya City. It was a dull and uninteresting concrete housing area where poor laborers are packed into sooty buildings. Oh wait, maybe they're not. They're probably not with her.
Are we sure it's the one above here?
Fool. He's trapped like a rat. Okay, make absolutely sure he don't get away. And you mustn't kill him either. He's the one who wrote those lie-filled letters. We're gonna get him to spill the name of the person who hired him.
The person these GDS men were trying to capture was a forger. Oh! In this era, a single piece of paper could earn you drastically different treatment. Skilled forgers were in great demand. As long as they received money, they would accept any request for forged documents. However, they weren't fools. They normally didn't engage in forgeries where their life might be in danger if the forgery got found out. However, reckless people can be found anywhere. There was a certain man who had been tasked by someone with the incredibly dangerous task of forging letters that would frame the GDS. That man's name was Jin Wan-yang. He had assisted in a fraud case targeting GHQ high officials. Since there had been some disagreements over how to divide up the money, he wanted to leave Japan. Apparently, he had accepted this last reckless job in exchange for a massive sum of money. Perhaps he was still in Tokyo because he hadn't yet been fully paid for his work. That or he's dead. The GDS didn't care about his needs. They needed to capture him as soon as possible and make him confess about those secret letters. He's either dead or he cut out his own tongue. There was a man who seemed to be a bodyguard. Yes, it looks like Jin was aware the job he accepted was a dangerous one. Oh, never mind. Shaolin quietly scouted out the scene, peering through a gap in the eaves on the roof. Then she spotted a second bodyguard and communicated that fact to her allies with a gesture.
The moment we rush him, get them from behind, Shaolin.
You don't have to tell me.
Okay. Here we go.
Who the hell are you? Where'd you call out of?
Don't take this personally, boy. Yes! I am now in their lane. Let's go, boys! Run, boss! They're after us!
I was getting ready to say I was gonna improvise, but no, she's gonna suck.
I won't let you escape. Oh, I love this. I love this far too much.
I've got no time for small fries. We got business with your employer. The door is locked. Hey, hand over the key. Don't got a clue where the key is. Give it up already, you bastard.
I'll try going around to the window. Before she even finished talking, Xiaolon was scaling the wet outer walls like a monkey.
He's the monkey. I thought she was a little brat, but she's incredibly useful. Of course, the boss trained her in assassin techniques from the ground up.
If you badmouth Meiju-san, she'll hear everything you tattle on you.
Give me a break.
She went along the outer wall, turned the corner, and found a window as expected. The disturbance outside must have reached the ears of the target in that room. The target, Jin Wang Yang, might have been reckless enough to dream of getting rich quick, but he wasn't a fighter. By now, he was probably grasping a gun or something shaking beneath a desk. Even so, she couldn't afford to get shot the moment she closed in. And if you get killed, I'll be upset. Xiaolon cautiously approached the window, trying to look inside. She couldn't pick up any sounds or signs of life, much less voices. Wait a minute. However, she quickly noticed that something was strange. The window glass had cracks in it like a spider web. She immediately recognized that a bullet had caused this. Uh-oh. Xiaolon, realizing something, violently smashed through the glass and jumped inside. He was already taken out, wasn't he? It was pitch black inside. Rainwater dripped down the wall inside the broken window. They hadn't heard a gunshot. The glass must have been broken for some time. With a crash of thunder, the room was lit up for just an instant. There was a man lying on the floor, shot through the head. He's already dead.
Damn it! They probably did this to silence him. It's been several hours since he died. They got to him first. Look for clues. Doesn't matter what. Find some proof that this bastard faked those letters to frame us. We've got information saying he was waiting for someone to receive his payment. That must have been the mastermind. Gotta find the clue pointer no matter what.
The men started violently rummaging about the room. However, Xiaolon's eyes were pointed out the window. Considering the man's height and the position of the bullet hole in the window, the sniper might have targeted him from the roof of that building across from him. Xiaolon leapt out the window and, traveling from rooftop to rooftop, headed through the rain towards the possible sniping location. Of course, there were no trace of anyone there. The pouring rain had washed away all the footsteps, scents, and traces that must have been left. How their timing is just so perfect that it happens to be raining. This was a perfect position from which to snipe at that room. It wasn't that far away. No one trained to use a sniper rifle would miss at that range. Jin Wanyang had probably been summoned to that room to receive his payment, and it had surely been a death trap to seal his lips. Forever. Covering up his tracks. However, this wasn't an unpredictable turn of events. Jin Wanyang must have known how dangerous his forgeries had been. He must have known there was a danger of his employer coming to silence him, to say nothing of the GDS. Normally, people taking on such a dangerous job wouldn't accept payment after the fact. They would usually get paid in advance, leave behind nothing but the finished product, and then vanish into the shadows. But Jin Wanyang hadn't done this. Why? Was it because he didn't realize how dangerous his forgeries were? That was impossible. They had contained plans by the GDS and Bashin Bang to assassinate Primavera VIPs. It was hard to imagine the very person who forged them not understanding how dangerous they were. Then, why? Was it because he was sure that his employer wouldn't betray him? It was hard for Xiaolon to reason it out any further in her head. She couldn't imagine it. Imagine that the one who made the request was an officer of the occupying forces.
Jin Wan-young had been sure he would receive his payment because it was coming from an occupying forces officer, one of those who control Japan. Gabriel's skill with words had ensnared Jin Wan-young. He had toyed with him using sweet words, saying he would soon have a much larger job waiting for him if he performed this one well. So Jin Wan-young had believed him. Enticed by the massive reward and the prospect of an even bigger job, he had trusted the position of a public order officer in the occupying forces. The fallen angel himself. Yep. I didn't want to aim for something too high there. Went a little small. Pardon me. It seems that the forger has been dealt with.
Ah, good work. I thank you for doing a good job. That should eliminate the final element that might cast doubt on those letters.
You look like you think you've got the whole world dancing on the palm of your hand.
Did you ever doubt that an orchestra would follow its musical score? You can be so amusing, Phil.
So, you're as self-conceited as all the heavens and the earth.
Of course. I'm no so full of myself as that. Everything's only gone so well because I've had all of you to assist me. You, and all the others. Such as that poor Chinese forger.
And you're saying above all, heaven is on your side.
Do you know what tomorrow is?
It was October 28th, a Friday.
To most people, it would be an average, meaningless day.
But Butler quickly remembered. Of course, Butler would never forget a date like that, and normally he would have thoroughly prepared for it. Or at least he would have, if that incident had never taken place, and if this Gabriel was not the man he was.
It's your birthday, sir.
You have a reputation for preparing truly considerate surprises for your superior officers' birthdays, do you not? So, I'm slightly looking forward to what sort of surprise you have for me.
Well, after all, I could hardly match up to your surprises, Major.
True. It's not as though I'm asking you for a birthday present. Ever since I was a child, I never asked to receive what I wanted as a present. I always obtained it for myself. In other words, an extraordinarily lucky day has come for me. So I wanted to mention how good my luck is right now.
Glad to hear it.
Just now, I received word from a friend working in information. He said he'd finished writing up the results of an expert opinion that would convince Richard. He's going to bring it here tomorrow. I was rather forceful about it. I've decided that he should participate in the farce as well. Bill, contact Richard and tell him to come here tomorrow at noon. And tell him that we have a very interesting result of our investigation to show him.
Wonder if Richard will dance to your tune. Ever since that incident, Richard's mind and body had been pushed to the breaking point. Thanks to the letters he had been shown the other day, his head must have been thoroughly burned by the swirling magma of anger and revenge. When this analysis result from information became the last straw proving guilt, Richard would fall. The last thread holding his heart in place would be cut, and he would be thrown out into the wilds like a mad hound thirsting for revenge. And that's what I'm scared about, you know?
Oh, he will dance.
After all, tomorrow is my lucky day. You can be sure that fate will summon a tailwind pushing in my direction.
Which would mean that it isn't your lucky day yet. Besides the elimination of the Forger, we received one further report. This one's probably an unfavorable wind, I think.
So, there was good news and bad news. Let us have it then. What is this bad news for me?
We've heard that Yuji's condition has miraculously improved.
Thank God. I would be upset otherwise. With the squealing of brakes, a luxury car stopped in front of a hospital. Out of it flew Richard and his guards. The guards wore tense expressions, but Richard's face was bright and cheery in contrast. Richard dashed between the solemnly bowing guards lining the hallway near a special hospital room.
Oh, Keith, is it true that Yuji regained consciousness?
The nurses said he opened his eyes for a bit and responded by blinking.
How wonderful! Oh, God!
Richard-san, here's the head doctor.
Maogi-san,
Please be quiet. He's sleeping again.
I won't make noise. Might I at least have a look at his face?
Please, doctor.
Understood. 5 minutes only then. If you're just going to have a look at his face, you have my approval. This is honest to God a relief.
Oh my God.
You have my gratitude, Doctor.
You guys wait here. Or wait there. We don't want everyone tramping about in there.
Yes, boss.
Keith had already left battalion and was working directly with Richard. At the moment, he was being treated as the de facto boss in charge of guarding Yuji, and had been given subordinates for this task. Ever since that incident, he had borne several heavy burdens. Though his slightly mocking style of speech hadn't changed, he had now gained an aura that no one could deny. The two of them were led to the hospital room. That special hospital room looked like a child's room, lined with the toys Yuji loved, which Keith had brought in.
You brought all of this in?
I wanted to lessen the shock for Yuji-kun as much as possible, whenever he woke up.
Perhaps your efforts were successful. The memories of fun times that permeate these toys have summoned Yuji's soul back to us.
Yuji slept on the bed, surrounded by various medical devices and several tubes connecting them to him. It was pitiful to see a body that ought to have died be bound just barely to this world thanks to machines. But even so, he had woken up. Yuji's condition, which had seemed hopeless at first, was now showing signs of a miraculous recovery. The mere fact that he had regained consciousness for a little bit after hovering on the edge of death for so long could be considered a miracle. I didn't do anything major. I'm sure Stella kept him safe.
That must be true. It truly is a miracle. Miracle brought about by the power of Yuji-kun's desire to live. Can you save him, Doctor? I can't make a prediction yet, but his stamina is recovering satisfactorily. However, the arm that was shot.
It's only an arm. That's a cheap price to pay for his life. Even if he's missing an arm, I'll care for him as long as I live, and see to it that he isn't inconvenienced.
Keith.
I should never have undressed like this. My skirt didn't get flipped up, did it?
Hey, Meryl! You came! And you must have had so many customers waiting for you. I'm glad you made it.
You know, I am one of Primavera's big execs, right? We're talking about Yuji, a boy who might affect the fate of Primavera. Of course I'd come a-running.
Right now, Primavera could become a demon or a Buddha due to a single word from Richard. Would his decisions be made calmly or emotionally? Yuji's condition held the key.
So, is it true that Yuji-kun woke up?
Yeah, just once. They say he blinked.
Is that a good sign? Are they out of the rough patch?
Well, according to the doctor, it was a miraculous recovery.
I see. Oh, thank goodness.
Meryl crouched down as though the energy had been drained out of her, and she sighed deeply.
And with that, Primavera's also gone past its roughest patch. Right?
Yeah.
With this, Richard would regain some of his composure. No matter how they ended up taking their revenge against the GDS, he wouldn't let his temper get in the way. No matter how well they showed the justness of their cause with proof, a blind, all-out war would deal them massive losses. Taking revenge for murdered family is the one just right, provided by the unwritten rules of the criminal underworld. If they could show enough proof, the bosses of families in neighboring cities would probably acknowledge Primavera's revenge, offering their support and understanding. If they buried Sun Shilong's moats, they could drag him to the negotiation table. After that, they would want to maneuver calmly and intellectually, pushing the blame for this incident on Li Meiju alone. And when they agree to let Zhilong use Meiju as a lizard's tail, they could ask for major concessions and call it a huge victory. That would probably make for the most profitable revenge from Primavera's side. However, that would be difficult if Richard remained a slave to his emotions.
At any rate, we've avoided getting covered in a shower of blood again.
After all, Stella would never have wanted that.
No, she would not.
That's right. Whenever she struck back at someone, she always did it in a sly way that ended up profiting her. And if Richard can just regain his composure, then even if Rose retires, Primavera will hold together.
Yeah. With this, I'm finally relieved too, for the time being. But even if Madame Rose does retire, I'd like to have a proper ceremony for her succession.
Yeah. If we can settle this case with Rose and Richard, this might be a good chance for Rose to retire.
Might be. I still can't believe she's worked so hard for this long. Well, anyway, Yuji's worked hard. Now we need Madame Rose to hang in there and recover too.
Yeah. I hope our next bit of good news is Rose's recovery. Which hospital was Rose taken to? Well, I guess it's a secret though.
Sorry, she was taken somewhere pretty far away. However, it's a well-outfitted hospital, and she's receiving the best treatment possible. With the best guard by her side, of course.
And that's a load off my mind.
I'm already expecting some bad stuff. I'm already just... I know what Ryukishi does! He brings me happiness, only for it to be turned into nothing but god-awful, just pure unadulterated pain. Ugh. Okay.
Pardon me, Grand Boss. We received a message from Captain Butler requesting that we meet him at Occupying Forces HQ tomorrow. Did they get a result from their analysis of those letters? The captain said to say that a truly interesting result came back.
That's a mean way to put it. Couldn't you just say if they were fake or not?
All right, then. Anyway, we don't need to worry now. Right now, Richard should be capable of making a calm decision.
On this most anxious of nights, the day before the culprit's identity is revealed, Yuji-kun miraculously recovered. It's gotta be Stella protecting us.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
In that case, we'll have to ask Stella and Heaven to do a bit more work and give Rose a miracle too.
Oh, if only. A gruesome incident, and Stella's death. It was such a shocking case, but Primavera was managing to somehow remain calm. All we can do now is just hope for Yuji just to continue to recover. And don't even get started. We also need to worry about Alan too, which, yeah.
Is that true? A young Yuji has, without a doubt.
Yes, they say his condition improved miraculously. We have checked with several nurses.
I checked too. Even Richard was ecstatic, calling it a miraculous recovery.
I see. Then this is good news.
To Meiju, Yuji's condition recovering was good news. Though there was no chance of his arm recovering, he had supposedly held on to life.
I see. Even if something happens to Madame Rose, as long as young Yuji is safe, Richard should make a clear-headed decision. I hope Richard isn't fooled by Jin Wangyang's forgery, but... Richard is a moneylender, and he had gained wealth by making deals with our countrymen. As long as he regained his composure, I am certain he will see through the forgery. But even so, that only shifts us from black to gray. It will probably require a lot of time and effort to regain our former relationship. But even so, this is news worth celebrating.
This incident had been like a massive gust of unfavorable wind to the GDS. However, high tides eventually lower and a sliver of moon always becomes full again. The relationship between the GDS and Primavera would remain as explosive as always. However, this was surely a sign that it would become possible for them to have a dialogue again. And for some reason, that wasn't the only bit of good news.
Somebody, wake up the doctor! Alan is...
Meishu dashed through the hallway looking flustered. Oh, thank God! She was panicked as though Alan's condition had suddenly worsened, but her face suggested something different.
Wake the doctor. What is it, Meishu?
Alan, his eyes...
Wait. When they dashed into the room, Alan was lying on the bed, his eyes slightly open. He must have been swimming in an ocean of nightmares. His whole face was covered in sweat. However, when he saw Meishu, the corners of his mouth rose weakly, forming a smile.
Alan, do you recognize me? Do you recognize me?
No words came out, but it felt as though he was trying hard to answer Meishu. Before long, the doctor clambered in. Then he took Alan's pulse and measured his temperature, hurriedly checking Alan's condition in various ways.
What's Alan's condition, doctor?
Nothing's wrong. I'm surprised he made it back alive.
Oh, thank goodness. Alan.
Hey, oh. John. That's a bit bold. Everyone's looking.
Alan had clearly spoken. He took on his usual tone, but the words were slightly slurred. However, you could feel the powerful glint in his eye, the kind only held by people with a strong will to live. He complained of being hungry and boldly asked for a hamburger. God damn it, Alan, I love you. Of course they turned him down, but when they said he could eat as much rice porridge as he liked, he laughed while his stomach rumbled. Meishu quickly ordered a whole pot of Chinese porridge from a nearby store. By the time that hunger-inducing scent came drifting in, Alan had changed clothes and had even recovered enough energy to worry about his personal appearance.
The porridge isn't going anywhere. Try and eat a little more calmly.
Oh, it's going somewhere.
Oh, God.
You eat like a beast, brawler.
Though he slept for several days, he has had nothing to eat. It's only natural.
I really sleep that long? That's right. Today is Thursday, October 27th. Can you tell the time? It's already night.
Thursday? Wait, seriously? I slept for 4 whole days?
How do you feel? Does it hurt anywhere?
My skin feels stiff, but it doesn't hurt at all. Did they use one of those secret 1,000-year-old Chinese recipes?
Yeah, something like that.
At the word Chinese, Meishu's smile darkened a little. Even Alan was probably starting to realize that she was actually Chinese.
I'm sorry, Alan. I wasn't exactly tricking you.
There's nothing to apologize for. If anything, I'm impressed.
Impressed?
After all, you spoke Japanese so well that even a Japanese man like me didn't think it was strange. I'm impressed. You're as talented as I knew you were.
I was sure you'd distance yourself from me when you heard I was Chinese.
I love you, Yuki-chan. I didn't fall in love because you were Japanese. And anyway, I'm the one who has to apologize to you.
For what?
I'm not the normal man you think I am. I'm one of those mafia guys you hate. You know Primavera, right? I've got a violent job there. A violent job you would never respect me for. I kept quiet too, thinking that if you ever found out, you'd never meet with me again.
Alan Kuhn is a Primavera underling. When a fight breaks out in a bar, he intervenes, and he sometimes has to force the customers to leave. When that happens, fists tend to fly.
Alan had survived such a large gunfight all on his own. There was no way he was a normal person. He saved Meishu in a life or death situation where he was likely to die. And he would have died, granted, if, Meishu didn't jump in. But he still managed to at least protect Meishu. Lee Meishu had probably investigated him at once, and he must have learned Alan's identity. However, Meishu hadn't mentioned it in front of his sister. Alan realized that this thoughtfulness meant he owed Meishu big time.
In other words, you're a bar bodyguard? I figured it was something like that. I guess that when I saw your worn fists. But I understand that you just get drunks to leave so the other customers can have a good time. People like me don't like seeing things as ugly as drunk customers fighting each other. But because we have someone around to do that dirty job, we're able to enjoy ourselves there. Oh, but don't get the wrong idea. Brother's job is another matter. I'll accept your job, but that doesn't mean I accept what my brother does.
I'm literally right here, little sister. What the hell? My.
Alan, let me introduce you again. This is my big brother, Lee Meishu.
I doubt there's anyone in Primavera who doesn't know about you.
I have no intention of accepting your relationship with my sister, but you have my gratitude with regards to the recent incident. However, I hope you don't forget the favor I've done for you.
Sheesh. You drive a hard bargain.
In truth, I would like to have a long conversation, just the two of us. But the current situation is tense. During the 4 days you slept, the situation between your group and ours has changed dramatically.
Well, Japan's whole world changed in a single day when the disaster hit. I've been out for 4 whole days. I would be surprised if you told me the moon got cut in half. No, that's Koro-sensei, but that's like 70% of the moon destroyed, but eh. Meishu and Meishu told Alan about what had happened between the GDS and Primavera during those 4 days. That Madame Rose had been shot, and no one knew if she was alive or dead.
that one of Primavera's major execs, Stella Maogi, was dead. That Eugene Maogi, who was practically her and Richard's son, had been terribly injured. And that rumors were going around claiming that the GDS was behind it all. And also, that the shock of all of this had made Richard lose his ability to make calm decisions, which might spark a revenge feud.
However, tonight, we received 2 bits of good news. The first is that young Yuji has shown a miraculous recovery. Concilier's care. Huh.
I think I remember hearing that Keith played with him a lot.
Indeed. That is the second bit of good fortune. Your partner, Keith Kisoragi, has been selected to serve at Richard's side. It should be possible for you to go through Keith and speak with Richard directly. If I want you to aid us in solving this misunderstanding, I'll give you a handwritten letter from me. I ask that you hand it to Richard directly. And if possible, I would like for you to tell him from your own lips that the GDS doesn't want a feud.
Brother, Alan only just got better. Wait until he's gotten his strength back before talking to him about this.
No. I realize that we've got to hurry. Alan's neck swayed. Now that he was full, he seemed to have been hit by a wave of drowsiness. It may have been a side effect of the oral medicine prescribed by the doctor just now.
Anyway, let's leave the rest for tomorrow. As for tonight, get some sleep, Alan. Even I'd like some time to digest the miracle of you waking up.
Sorry, Yuki-chan. I'll sleep.
The moment after he said that, his breathing growing deeper, he was already asleep. However, he wore the expression of a peaceful sleeping child with a full stomach. Meishu gently pulled a blanket over him. Then she looked up at the ceiling and thanked the god she believed in. In the heavens far beyond that ceiling, she truly felt as though something like an angel had blessed her.
When the fallen angel's embrace is finally denied by an actual blessing. Ugh.
Surely when faced with the blessings of a real angel, the evil deeds of a fallen angel will be blown away. Alan and Yuji miraculously recovered. If there really was an angel in City 23, it must have been smiling that night. However, Gabriel's probably got a backup plan, knowing him. The next morning, further good news arrived. Yuji had fully awoken and was even able to engage in conversation. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank you.
Yuji!
See, Yuji-kun? Papa's here.
Oh, Yuji!
This emotional reunion had even the nurses crying. Yuji's expression was still weak, but there was a definite smile there. His stamina had decreased too, and there were still marks left from the surgery, and he could barely move at all. But he could now follow Richard with his eyes, and talk and respond to people. It certainly was sad to see him there covered with bandages and tubes, but neither Richard nor Keith could have asked for more. I'm hungry. I eat more.
I see. So, you were eating.
Come on, Yuji-kun. Say ah. Yuji had been in the middle of eating. Keith scooped up applesauce with a spoon and carried it to Yuji's mouth. Even though he'd had an IV, it seemed he couldn't be satisfied with an empty stomach. Yuji didn't like fruits very much, but it seemed he couldn't win against the hunger, and he chewed silently. To Richard, it was a reunion so moving he wanted to hug Yuji right away. However, Yuji was more focused on the next bite of food. Would that bluntness particular to small children irritating, or was it nostalgic? Richard couldn't help but feel the tears welling up.
Hey there! How you doing, Yuji-kun?
Grand Boss, you're too loud.
Cyrus, I'm glad you came. See, Yuji? Uncle Cyrus is here to visit you.
Oh, when I heard you were doing so good, I bought you an incredibly get-well present. See? It's that pudding you love so much.
And Incredible, Grand Boss. Didn't know you knew what Yuji-kun liked.
Oh, don't take me lightly, boy. I've even pissed on while changing you. I've been Oh, god damn it. I've even been pissed on while changing Yuji-kun's diapers.
That takes me back. It feels like so long ago.
And this pudding's really expensive. Pretty cool, Grand Boss.
Well, I had one of the youngins take his spin out to Yokohama to get it. Look, here's some insanely expensive pudding.
Gone to Morozov, is it? Isn't that a bit too expensive?
I was thinking that was how great a day this is. Did I make a mistake?
That's the Grand Boss for you. You know how it is.
May not look it, but he's always been a subtle, considerate man. Cyrus, it's just as you say. There could be no happier day than this.
Hey there, Yuji! I got pudding, and it's expensive enough to make your eyes pop.
Pudding! 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 He was saying the wound hurt until a second ago, but he seems to be in high spirits now.
Putting over pain, is it?
Richard laughed cheerfully at Yuji's bold hunger. Watching this, Cyrus was even more relieved. Today, they were being called to the occupying forces HQ.
Oh god, what the fuck is that face? Jesus Christ!
Most likely, they would be shown analysis results proving that the GDS had indeed been responsible for the crime. It would become certain that Meiju had betrayed them after their long acquaintanceship, which would probably be considerable shock. However, it was alright. As he was now, Richard could probably overcome Stella's death completely and make a clear-minded decision. Now that Pudding, his favorite, was here, Yuji had no more interest to spare for his applesauce. As Keith grinned wryly, Richard nodded to him with a smile. No helping it, I guess. Okay, let's have some pudding. Hey! Maybe he had gotten a bit too excited. His wound cramped up and Yuji hung his head moaning. As though noticing this, a nurse came in. A bit earlier, they had given him medicine to stop the pain. He was probably also coming to switch his IVs. Oh, medicine! Pudding! Pudding! Yuji's dislike of medicine was genuine. Whenever he caught a cold, they always had to fight to make him take his medicine. Isn't that like that with almost all kids? That's no good. You gotta take your medicine. You said it hurt a little while ago, right? Pudding! Pudding! Ah! Keith told him the pudding wouldn't run away, but Yuji apparently thought it would.
Hey now, I'm not letting you off that easy. Bad kids don't take their medicine, don't get pudding.
Oh! Oh, no medicine! But good kids who do take their medicine do get to eat Uncle Cyrus's pudding. Yuji raised his voice unhappily. That unreasonableness was very nostalgic and very much needed in this depressing state of affairs.
Yuji, take your medicine. If you do, then we'll all eat pudding together.
Yuji's whims, his raised voice, all of it was so familiar. It was part of an everyday life that they had thought had been cruelly smashed and lost forever. If only one more person were here. Richard looked up at the ceiling, moved to tears. Both Keith and Cyrus knew whose face Richard was remembering. His hair, too. Huh? You can see her too, Grand Boss? I didn't know you had it in you.
Don't mock me, boy. Even I can be at least this delicate. Stella's here too. Richard's the only one who can't see her.
Richard-san, haven't you noticed? She's been here this whole time.
Don't make fun of me, you two. No. You're right. He's here. Stella's right here.
Huh? Mama? Since everyone said she was here, even though Yuji couldn't see her, he looked all around. Of course, he couldn't spot Stella, and he didn't even know that she had been welcomed into heaven. Yuji-kun, Stella's here too. Mama? She's here. Stella is. She'll never leave your side. Mama? When he still couldn't find Stella after looking around, Yuji's interest returned to his pudding. Young kids really are abrupt enough to draw a bitter smile. But that's okay. It was okay for his mind to be absorbed in pudding now. Eventually, the day would probably come when he would be forced to accept Stella's death. However, that wasn't needed today. Today, he just needed to feel being alive, to laugh, to enjoy himself. However, they apparently wouldn't be able to see that smile of his unless they gave him pudding. He had a tantrum as usual over not wanting medicine. However, when he finally understood that he'd be able to eat pudding if he took his medicine, he reluctantly agreed. Will you take your medicine now? Still hard for a 2-year-old to take an oral medicine. However, when he measured that bitter taste against the pudding, he eventually came to a decision on his own. He'd always refused that medicine no matter how often Stella told him to take it. Even if they tried to trick him by putting it in snacks or juice, he never drank it. And now, he decided to take it on his own, though with the lure of pudding to help. Even lying in a hospital bed looking so pathetic, this small child was growing. Keith and Richard were certain. They needed to protect this child's future. For that reason, they couldn't let Stella's death be in vain. Yuji grabbed a small tablet he'd been given, looking at it unhappily. He could only move one arm, so it looked like it'd be a little tricky to drink it and then grab the water cup Keith was holding. After a little bit of confusion, he readied himself with an exaggerated breath. To him, this was as tense as preparing for a death-defying tightrope walk. That childish drama was pretty funny, and some of the nurses laughed a little. However, this was a trial, and it was growth. Seeing this happen in one of their future countrymen made life worth living. Cyrus handed out pudding to everyone. When Yuji overcame the trial in front of him, everyone was prepared to eat pudding together. With that mood set, Yuji was finally encouraged to take the plunge. Hey, you took the medicine by yourself. That's great, Yuji-kun.
You did it well. I'm sure Mama will praise you.
Pudding! Pudding now!
Okay, time for your reward. Here's yours, Yuji. Richard, you should eat well too and store up some energy for your brain.
But of course. I must receive the Major's analysis results, and I'll probably have to work out a plan of action.
Think you'll be able to stay cool?
If I had said my emotions all returned to zero, well, then I would probably be lying. However, I have no intentions of aggravating matters more than they already have been. Starting a feud with the GDS would only leave an unneeded source of trouble in the future for Yuji and the others after all.
So, you're finally back to the old Richard.
However, I intend to see to it that full responsibility is taken, so that Stella's death doesn't have to be in vain.
Hey, Yuji-kun. Pudding time. Say ah. Pudding! Pudding! Ah! He'd gotten too excited and he coughed, spitting out the pudding in his mouth.
Yuji, calm down a little.
Hey, you are calm. Papa's pretty mean, huh?
Did it go down his windpipe?
It's mean to laugh. Come on, careful now.
Oh god, no! You son of a... He didn't!
Didn't I tell you, Richard, that we will become comrades? Comrades bearing the same pain. These hidden medicines of China are truly remarkable. Even poisons used simply to kill someone come in an unbelievably wide variety. That's right. Just like words of love.
Are you talking about that stuff you got from that bar Shing Bang geezer?
Yup. Though he demanded quite a hefty sum of money.
Oh god, I want you to suffer the most agonizing death!
It's all taxpayer money anyway. It's not like your wallet's going to suffer.
It's a fitting expense to punish demons. The taxpayers ought to be happy.
Yuji writhed in agony, blowing bubbles, his eyes white. Blood vessels all over his body grew black and puffy right before their eyes. Eventually, bubbles of blood started shooting out of his mouth and nose. Splattering blood formed by dots of his pure white bandages and sheets. Yuji! 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 Doctor, what are you doing? Help Yuji! Quickly! It's poison! He's been poisoned! We can see that! Save Yuji-kun quickly! Quickly! Keith called out Yuji's name, holding his body. At Richard's side, the pudding he'd loved slowly fell. Flesh colored. Red, brown, splashes, fluid, red. Okay. I need a drink right now. Oh god. I don't think I've ever gotten this mad at something before. Oh, I think this is officially the maddest I think I've ever been. Oh, Gabriel, you son of a bitch! Okay, just calm down, just get in the headspace, just... Okay. I need... Okay.
If the poison only killed, it wouldn't fetch so high a price. The poison we ordered always kills rapidly. And it kills in the most brutal, terrifying, painful, agonizing way. After all, we're punishing evil. If they die in their sleep, they won't have time to remember the people they tormented and killed.
And so... Richard was forced to watch as his beloved son was burned from the inside and welled up as he scattered pus were dying in agony. And all of this as his own face was covered with the splashing blood.
Didn't I tell you? Today is my birthday. My lucky